I'm Chip Townsend, and this is the Team Chip Podcast. Today, we'll be discussing finding your why, finding your purpose, what drives you. And man, I can think of no better person in my personal life to discuss this with other than my beautiful wife of over 32 years. She deserves an award for that, by the way, and the Chief Program Director for Team Chip Martial Arts Centers. Here's Miss Glyn Ann for some amazing nuggets. We're sharing this episode because your why matters. Your values, the people you build with, the legacy you leave don't happen by accident. This conversation is a reminder to slow down, build with intention. Let's jump in. Find your why. I'm so excited today because I have the most important, most amazing person in my entire life. I have to say second to Jesus, but the most amazing person in my entire life, my other half, my beautiful wife, 6th degree black belt in traditional Taekwondo, blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and a 3-time ISK world champion, Miss Glyn Ann Townsend. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. This makes me happy beyond belief.
I'm excited to be here.
Yay.
Excited is a stretch, but this is not usually my comfort zone. I'm stepping out a little bit because I usually am very happy to be the one behind the camera. So
yeah, so just so you guys know,
fine.
If anybody thinks in any way, form, or fashion that Chip Townsend and or the Team Chip organization has had any success, what you don't know is the true brains and the true creativity and color and the true life of the martial arts organization is actually Glyn Ann. She does, man. She's a lot of times in the background, kind of lives a little bit in the shadow. And we're very blessed that she's happy to be there, I guess you could say. But at the same time, I don't make any decisions. Listen, man, I don't make no decisions without talking to Glyn Ann first, especially anything major, financial, anything that moves our business in any way. We talk first. We put it on the table. We discuss that because if you should know by now, your wife has got intuition. She knows, she feels things. And you better pay attention to that because God said that you leave your mom and dad, you connect with your wife, you become one. So leaving her would be like chopping off half of my body. I don't want to do that. We're not going to do that. But I got to listen to her because she's got a great voice and she's got a great mind and she brings all the life and color to our business. So with that said.
I'm going to interrupt because you said something that I think could be misconstrued. And you said, like I'm in the shadow. And I will say, I don't think that you meant that, but the way that it could have been heard, I've never felt in the shadow. Right. I've felt like I'm, we're walking alongside together. It's that picture of I was made from, Eve was made from Adam's rib, not to be subservient, but because they're side by side. And right. So that's the relationship that we have. And I have felt more comfortable in that position of being behind the scenes, but not because I'm in a shadow.
Absolutely. And that's not what I meant.
I know
100%.
that. I know that. But I want to be sure that anybody that might hear that might go, oh, no, that's not the case.
What a masculine, hardcore man to put his wife down like that. No, not really. I'm about as floppy as they get. So here we go. All right. So, we're going to talk a little bit about kind of core values. So You tell me where we are with core values. You talk, just talk about that with us for a minute and share core values. I think it's important. And real quick, back up. Also important, guys, we just crossed 32 years of being married. We have 3 amazing children. Everybody loves their kids, feels amazing. But we truly have 3 amazing kids. All 3 of our kids work for us in our business. Yes, it's challenging. My oldest daughter who's married, we have a beautiful 18-month-old grandbaby right now. And our oldest daughter's husband, our son-in-law, is also an integral part of our business now. And we do it as a family. So I want to put that on the table first. We're family first, business second. But it all ties together. We can't separate them. So with that said, 32 years of marriage, definitely some ups and downs. We're human. But let's talk about values, core values.
So as I was thinking about the core values and finding your why and what is your why, a lot of times you hear that question, it's very internally focused. It's very much my why is about me. It's about what I want to accomplish. And my number one why is I want to hear, I desire to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. I want to hear that.
Yeah, I just want to jump in there and say that in and of itself is amazing. And as a man, I'll tell you, it can be intimidating. It can be intimidating because I could feel like, what, I'm number two? But wait a minute. I'm number two. I'm number two to Jesus.
To the creator of the
guy
universe.
that took a breath and created the entire universe.
So,
that we can't even wrap our brain around.
I'm good to be number two.
Yeah, I'm happy being number two. It's okay, Jesus.
And
We're good.
So
We're good.
often we try to be that number one, right?
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
So that is first. And then second is to be an example of what it looks like for my family to be a good wife, a good mother, and then a good human. Like I'm exampling, and the good is not anything good that I have done, but I'm exampling how to be that for my kids, whether it's work ethic or, just all stewardship, those sort of things. But I put wife first intentionally. And I think so many times whenever, especially as moms, we have our kids and then all of a sudden our kids become our number one focus. And it's like, forget about this guy that, was my partner. And now my kids are number one. And I am, what kind of example am I setting for my kids that, thanks a lot for being with me for, we were married for 8 years before we had our first child.
Right.
Thanks a lot for those 8 years, but now she's the priority, which our first daughter, let's say she because of Lexi, but she becomes our priority. Yes, they're a priority, but for both of you.
Absolutely.
It's not that all of a sudden I'm the one that has to be the stop, drop, and everything focuses on her. You have to maintain that relationship with your husband, because you know what? The kids are not, they say it all the time, but I don't want my kids to live in we don't have a basement, but you get the gist. I don't want our kids to live in our basement until they're 40. I want whenever they're old enough and they're ready to roll, they're out.
Right.
And then we've got to still like each other.
Right.
But
Yeah,
if I have shut things
we got to
down,
work on that. I'm just
I'm going to
saying.
stab you with this pen.
Oh, Lord. Now you guys know. If you can hear this woman talk, you understand why I love her so dang much. But something I was thinking about as you were talking, like you said, I want to be the example.
Yeah.
And I can just hear people, their skin crawling like, oh, she's just wanting to be a show off for the world. But you said an example for my family and in my home. And I think that makes me think of in our business this idea that we have that we kind of probably stole from Dave Kovar, but this idea of we're martial artists first.
That's right.
And we're coaches and teachers second,
Right.
and then we're business people third. And if we line those priorities right, we really train and lead by example, and then we hone our teaching and communication skills and we teach well. It's kind of the same idea with what you said in the family. Our priorities, God is first. Our spouse is second, our kids are kind of third, but our home is first, our business is second. Because, there's a quote out there it's like, if a man, and I can't remember where it comes in the Bible, but if a person can't take care of their home and keep their home in order, they don't need to lead in the church or lead anywhere else.
Right.
Your home is first. So I just love the way you said
that
that, because
from
you're personifying that right now. And I think that's really powerful. When we keep our priorities straight, everything else can and will fall into place.
Yeah, and it's you hear people say, well, especially in relation to marriage, and we will probably at some point in time go into some of that in future podcasts, but that idea of, well, you're just not the same. Good grief, I hope I'm not the same as I was 32 years ago.
Me too. Not you,
Man.
but me. Like, I was about as dumb as a box of
I
rocks.
know,
I
and
still am, and I'm working on it every day.
Thought
but
I knew
geez.
everything. So it's that, that idea, like in the school, martial artist first, teacher second, business owner third, and it's that priority of continual growth. Martial artist first has that mindset and that idea of I'm continually improving, I'm continually training, and it's the same personally. I am not the same,
Right.
And that is that continual growth, and just so thankful for for that.
Yeah, it's just like the river that stops moving stagnates. It dies, right? And
Stinks.
Hey, was that a poke at me?
No.
'Cause I actually took my monthly bath today. I just want you to know that. Just
Ditto.
because I was going to be in an interview with you, I was hoping maybe later I could ask you out for a date.
Good luck with that. I got
know.
stuff to do.
I know, right? My love language is physical contact, and yours is not, and that's
Acts of service.
I know. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this is kind of a business podcast too, and we talked about the home values and how does that kind of align with our business values? And, can you tie that together for me a little bit?
Yeah. So when in the business, I want to be sure, I'm saying I want an example for my family. Well, I want an example for my family that things don't just fall in your lap. It's that overnight success that took 20 years kind of mindset. And I need to example that for them. It's so funny that I remember whenever we were younger and people were like, oh yeah, you work for yourself. That's amazing. I bet you just set your own hours. And I'm like,
hey, do you remember the time I was sitting in the lobby of our school? We had it for probably like a year, and this young airman from the Air Force had started classes. And at the time, we started with like 55, 57 students. And so we had this really thin schedule. And I took it on, we took it on full time. So we dumped everything but a few bucks, and we just dove into it head first. And you're working part-time, going to school. But this little young airman, we come out of a hard class one night, and he's sitting in the lobby, and he looks at me, and he's like, man, sir, you have the greatest job in the world. You only work like 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
And inside, funny. I was like, oh, Lord, this kid has no idea.
Yeah, it's so funny because, I also remember talking to a fellow business person. He was like, if people ever figured out what we actually get paid per hour, it's, because you put in those hours. And
right.
But the thing is, I'm not just exampling the putting in the hours. I'm exampling putting in those hours happily, joyfully, excited, because this is the thing. I think about, we used to do volunteer with an organization that would go into schools and talk to the kids about entrepreneurship and that sort of thing. And one of the things that I absolutely loved was the ability to tell them, I don't dread getting up and going to work every day. I love what I do. How can you not love impacting little lives? Not even just little lives, but bigger lives, helping to be that vessel for change in people's future, people's lives. And man, and every little piece of that, whether it's being sure that the floors are clean so the mom is not disgusted and goes, yeah, we're not coming back to this place because it's not clean. All of that is embedded in that, and it makes everything something that you can be excited to do and be happy to do because you see the bigger picture whenever you understand that.
Absolutely. And I think something you said there is really powerful too, in that you're talking about clean floors. A lot of times people get the idea, in the business world and young people coming up, like, I'm going to get to that position. I'm going to set my own hours. I'm going to choose what I do, and I'm going to have all this freedom. And little they know, the higher you go and the more leadership responsibility you take on, and the more the higher your quote unquote position gets, the less freedom you have.
That's right.
Because you have to constantly demonstrate that servant leadership to your team. Well, what does that mean? Well, when I'm walking through and there's a little dragon dropped a Hershey's Kiss in the middle of the mat, I got to be the guy to pick it up.
And
I can't just go, hey, you guys clean that mess up right now.
That's not a maybe. That's not an if. That's not a like. It could happen. It has happened.
We did jujitsu this morning. We were laughing. I told the guys because we found a blueberry laying in the floor in the lobby, and I was like, "Man, a blueberry!" And our son
and
Slade, I said, "Hey," I was putting my shoes on. I said, "Hey, will you grab that real quick and throw it in the trash can?" As he was walking by, and he picked it up and he goes, "Oh, it's mushy. Oh, it's a blueberry." And I'm like, guys, y'all have no idea.
Never pick up something like that with bare hands.
And whatever you do, don't sniff it. I'm just saying, don't sniff. So you have I told the guys, you have no idea how many things we've seen fall out of uniforms and gis. Like, we've seen underwear fall out of sleeve, like, because it got mixed up in the laundry. We've
tons
seen
of dryer sheets.
The dryer sheets. We've we've had corn chips. We've had Cheerios, we've had little toy soldiers,
Goldfish are
and we've had little poop nuggets. We've had it all, man. Just run out the sleeves and out the pant legs of those uniforms. So,
well, the thing is that added responsibility whenever things do grow, if there's not already an established, we kind of bouncing back to that ultimate why of well done, that we talked about at the
right.
beginning. You can't fake that. So if you think that you're going to be able to separate, well, at my personal, I'll do whatever I want, but then I'm going to expect whatever excellence.
Right.
That they have to
Right.
align. They
Right.
absolutely have to align. And you see
Absolutely.
the biggest crashes that you see all across, in every area, is whenever that personal character doesn't align with the public face, and then you see people being completely broken by what someone has done, but it's because of something that they did that didn't align with what they were. I don't want to use the word loosely, but what they were preaching, what they were saying, what they were expecting.
Right. I've been in some conversations with some pretty high level executives through the years, and I've met a couple of people that, believe it or not, believe that they can be a different person at home and in business.
Yeah,
Like they can treat people a certain way at business and then go home and kind of be an a-hole to their family.
Yeah.
Eventually, at the Christmas party for your company, the people you work with and the people you live with are all going to meet, and there's going to be a collision. And the thing, it's a crash of integrity.
Absolutely.
You're not integrated. You're not one.
That's right.
You're not indivisible, and you're showing multiple faces. Being multiple faced is horrendous. Gossip is horrendous. Not living out. So interesting when you're talking about keeping the school clean. Man, our house is always clean, and you lead that. You lead that head on. Beds are made, trashes are carried out, and we all do contribute.
Absolutely.
But you're the core of saying, hey guys, let's make sure this is done. So when we come home at night, and there's just something nice about leaving after a long, hard day at the business and knowing we're going home to something that's organized and kept, not going home to
oh my gosh,
catastrophe.
Do you smell that?
Yeah, right.
And we were immaculate when we first got married.
Oh Lordy, we were so clean. We were dish
so
stacking,
bad.
dirty laundry piling machines.
Oh.
So if you're in that part of life, you're in that season, it's okay. You'll learn and you'll get past it. And I'm pretty sure it'll pass for you, right? But we did that too, man.
Gosh.
You can't hear us and think, oh, these guys just never made mistakes. Dude, we've made so many failures. It's unbelievable. So let's talk real quick, just a little bit about kind of time and trust. Time and trust. And, when we first got married, we loved each other tremendously. And something that's been heavy on my mind for a while, there's this concept of love solves all problems, kind of, right? And I agree with that. And Jesus was the ultimate expression of love,
Absolutely.
Right? And but I also believe in that love is a choice. I think sometimes when people first get married, there's this idea that I just fell in love and it was all natural and it's going to be so easy and a bowl of cherries. And this is going to sound harsh, but I have to wake up every day and choose to love you. I have to wake up every day and choose to love my kids. I have to get up every day and choose to love to go to work. It takes some work. And then, I read a thing a couple of years back, and it said, on average, when people first get married, it takes about 10 years to seat together and understand each other and develop some trust. And it takes time. So what are your thoughts on that? Speak into that a little bit.
I just remember hearing okay, if you make it to 7 years, that's good. And then if you make it to 14 years, okay, it's a piece of cake. And it's like the bar just keeps moving, right? And if you...
It's like the kid playing a game that keeps changing the rules.
Yeah, exactly. Or, you have your kid and it's like, oh, well, they're good now, but just wait till they become 3, those terrible 3s. It's all of that. It's like, there's instead of going, man, that's awesome, it's, oh, just wait, it's going to get bad. The thing is, I think that I think the word that comes to mind is intentional, and also that I think both of us, I don't think it was immediate, but pretty early on realized the need for that personal growth, and not, like I said earlier, you hear it all the time. People say they're just not the same. Well, hallelujah, I'm not the same.
Right.
I mean, because I like almost reveled in, and kind of just like got all comfy in getting frazzled about stuff.
Right.
And now I catch myself doing that and go, is this really that big of a deal? This is not that big of a deal. Calm down, and I know where that comes from.
Right.
I know that that's not me in like some self-help book that I read. I get that, but
Right.
I think that just that continual and growing together and realize that beauty fades.
Come on. You can't be talking about me.
I was talking about me. And, I also made an absolute in sickness and in health
Yes.
till death do us part. And I took that really, really serious.
I'm glad because,
And-
man, I'm a pain in the butt.
Well, there is that. But yeah, but I also think that also realizing that I'm an equal pain in the
What?
rear. I
Hey,
know.
can we make sure that this is recorded because
Somebody edit
wow.
that. But yeah, I mean, just so the trust thing is just realizing that you're going to grow. You're not going to stay the same. We got married really young.
Right.
I was a year and a half older.
Yes.
But anyway.
She admitted it. Finally, the truth comes out. It's
Yeah,
and there's
but
a
it is.
section of the year. It's 2 years.
Thanks for reminding me. But anyway, yeah. But I mean, we got married young. I mean, and,
19. I
and-
was 19. You were 21. And it's not stupid young, but it was
Right.
pretty stupid young.
Right.
Yeah,
and
I meet
think,
19-year-olds
even,
today, and I think, oh my
now
gosh.
that is like most people hear that and go, oh my gosh, that
Right.
like they can't fathom a 19-year-old getting married.
Right.
But the other thing is we didn't something that your mom said to me was like, you can live in a hovel, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember exact words, but as long as you have each other, you'll be fine.
Right.
You'll be fine.
Right.
And that set in.
Absolutely. All right. So, we've talked a little bit about, kind of getting started, being married, and let's talk just a touch about kind of the beginnings of our business here. Whenever I was a kid training, my instructor said, maybe someday this will be your school,
Yeah.
and planted this little seed with me. And then one day, lo and behold, out of the blue, he calls and says, hey, I think it's about time. And it's like, whoa, it's time to go, time to take this over. And so I literally quit a full-time job. I was working full-time, so you could go to school part-time,
Right.
and you were working part-time, and we were hustling, trying to make ends meet, get you through school. And the idea was both of us, finish and get our degrees, in which we have both done so. But I quit a great job and was making good money.
That I think would have never been a fulfilling job.
No, absolutely, 100%.
We would not have, and that's in hindsight,
Yeah.
and looking at the time, it was, we're doing good.
Right.
We can do what we want, but
buy what we want, do what we want, live where we
like,
wanted to live. Yeah, life was good, and so we took everything short of $1,000,
Yep.
dove into a business. But here's the cool part I want you guys to hear. We were never not together on that. From the get-go, we had conversations about it. We knew it was going to be a challenge. We knew it was going to be scary. We knew we were walking into the unknown, because a martial arts school to make a living, like, what the heck is that? It was such a small thing. And the majority of people, even still that I meet that run martial arts schools, a big percentage have a real job, a quote unquote real job,
Yeah.
right? And so we dove into kind of the unknown and ran with it. And it was scary. And so, kind of talk about that beginning just a little bit.
Yeah, it was one of those things where you had already expressed and told me about, your instructor saying, hey, someday this will be yours. I knew how much you loved it. And I knew that I didn't want to be the person that was like, whenever you're 75 looking back on your life and you've done this life of, whatever, you were doing before.
Kind of a life of necessity and just,
and go, you know what? Sure wish I'd tried that. And I thought, you know what the heck? Let's go.
And
but
then
this is a side on that.
Mm-hmm.
We never had a plan B either.
Oh,
It wasn't
good
like,
Lord.
let's try it and see.
What does that mean?
It was like, let's try it. But try was really a stretch of a word. It wasn't let's try it. It's like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Well, first, the thing that pops in my head, we live the great American dream.
Absolutely.
And people need to understand it's alive and well today.
Absolutely.
the only nation in the world that you get to do things like what we do with the amount of freedom that we have to do what we do.
Yeah.
And it's important that we hang on to that. And
Absolutely.
we work hard to maintain that, right? And it's absolutely been a dream come true to get to do that. So I just thought I would throw that reminder in there for people because it's important that we keep that in mind. I think sometimes we forget, we have, immigrants come into our country with literally dollars in their pocket, and 3 years later they're millionaires because they know what it's like to come from nothing and build something. And I feel like we should be so much further than what we are, but we're a heck of a lot further than where we started as lost kids.
And we also have to remind ourselves, we both do, that whenever you get into that, this is a little side note, but whenever you get into that, it's kind of like, it's almost comparison. It's that we should be further, and I 100% understand and believe in God's timing.
God's timing.
Is perfect.
Oh, absolutely.
His
I've never
timing is
been more
perfect.
comfortable with that than I am today, and it gets more
And
comfortable
so
every day.
the fact that we're not doing what X, Y, Z or whatever that might be is because God is in
It's God's
control,
plan.
and He's putting us in the position, in the place that He wants us. And
Right. I hope it's
I'm
God's plan that a lot of people are hearing this and getting what they need.
Yeah.
That's what this is about, right?
Absolutely.
But every day living the great American dream, it is alive and well. I can't say that enough. Every day. Another thing too that I want to throw out there is I think at this juncture, I was wanting to take every penny that we had saved, and it wasn't much, but it was several $1,000s that we had busted our humps to keep put away, start building a seed for the future to have kids and do these things. I wanted to take every bit of that and basically hand it off and take over a rented property with some junky old equipment and no guarantees of anything. And the cool part is as we talked about it, you never one time balked at it. You never said, this is a horrible idea. You're a fool. You can't do that. You said things like, okay, how are we going to make it work? Let's go. Yep. And men, if you can find a lady that does that for you in your life and is that committed to your success, and I hope I've been that committed to yours.
Absolutely.
But that is such a flipping gift. And I'll also throw in there, because this is getting to know Glyn Ann and myself and why we are who we are and where we are. I've said this 1,000 times, and I'm going to publicly profess it to the masses. My wife, in 32 years of marriage, has maybe 2 times ever said to me something like, I want that, or I need that. I'm sometimes boggled at the neediness that I see in marriages, and I hate to get off on that track, but It is what it is. And marriages that are destroyed because I have a Lexus, I want a Mercedes now. I have this house, but I want that house. I've never been put in that position. I couldn't love you more for it. And not that you have low expectations, but that you've just been willing to get on the journey with me. And it was my choice and a lot of my choosing the direction we went, and run with me in that journey. It also makes me think of Wild at Heart. So many times men see women as the conquest, like, oh, if I could get her, life would be good. Kind of like the guy or the woman that goes, if I could just get to that position, I'd be good. We all do that, right? But in the married world, in a true real marriage, the conquest is the life that we build together and the legacy that we create.
Absolutely.
You jumped on the horse with me, and we're on the conquest together, fighting that battle together, right? And I think that's huge.
Absolutely.
And you've been the epitome of that in our marriage and our life. So anyway, just wanted to share that nugget, and I think it's important for people to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're a team, and that's the thing, that intentional, that we talked about at the beginning, just being intentional. You grow to love them more than you did.
Yeah. So
I
you and I
love
both,
you on a whole different level than I did whenever we first got married.
Even though I demand sandwiches on a regular basis, right?
Again,
but you
stab with the pen. Okay.
In case y'all don't know, I'm dodging pins right now. Okay. So, it's funny because, gosh, you've always been beautiful. It's crazy, man. I tell the guys sometimes when when marriage comes up, I'm like, I love Glyn Ann so much more today than I did 30 years ago, and didn't realize it. I thought I loved you beyond belief then.
Mm-hmm.
It just gets deeper. And sorry to bring it up, but when I look at your body and I see the damage I did to you as you had kids for me, I love you even more and what you gave up. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like, I think sometimes men could venture off and go, well, you're not as, as tight and smooth as you were at one time. I'm going to move on to the next better thing. What an asshole. I'm sorry, but you just, that's not the way this works, right? But I think that that's also important for people to hear. Yeah, because you said, we've grown in our flaws and we're not the same people we were.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but we're doing that together as a team together.
What you were talking about, me not balking you and not asking for things. I think something that fueled that is the fact that I saw beyond the immediate. I was on that train with you
Right.
on where we were going.
Right.
And so I was okay with, okay, guys, classes are not happening right now. I need y'all to go put the buckets underneath where the sink is going to leak. And I know it's going to leak because it's going to leak down on the mats if you don't have a bucket down there.
Right.
And I was
so,
willing to do those things.
Oh
and
my
those
gosh.
we'll talk about those in later podcasts. So I don't want to go, but I was willing to live through some things that were a little bit challenging. I mean, gosh, we lived above
not
our
a little
school.
bit, a lot.
We lived above the school for 9 years. And I was willing to do that instead of being the needle in your side going, gosh, I wish I could have a house. Gosh, I wish I could have a house. Gosh, I wish I could have a house. I was like, man, I'm going to take this box that we're living in and I'm going to see how pretty I can make it. What can I do and how I can make it a home, because it doesn't matter the address. I can make a home wherever there is that we are together.
Kind of goes back to what that my mom had said in our early days, right?
And it's all tying back to the why.
The why.
The core, the focus on, I'm going to, and not but make the most of what we have and be your partner in this, not be the one that we're putting the face together. We're in this together. And then whenever we get home, I'm needling you going, gosh, I wish you would give me more. When what else could I ask for?
Right. Well, I think, something that's popped in my head was when we got married, it went from being about me to being about we.
That's right.
Right. And we're together on those things. So another thing, when I said those things, we've absolutely butted heads and we've had a bazillion disagreements about things.
And I set him straight every single
time. Freaking
Mm-hmm.
time she puts me on track. I'm telling you guys, it's amazing. But I just don't want people to get the idea that we think we live this life, this bowl of cherries every day, because we've definitely not agreed on things. I've definitely made huge decisions that changed because Glyn Ann came in and said, "Hey, you're not seeing this, and you need to pay attention because we're going to mess up right here." And I go, "Oh gosh, you're right. I didn't see that." That's also the beauty of the way our business operates. And I am black and white. Like, there would be no color in that building except clean mats and good equipment, right? And then you come along and said, "Oh, no. We need some flowers in the corner. We need to paint this wall. We need to have some display." You just bring something I don't have. And I think that's true in all marriages, and that's the way God intended it to be.
On my side, exactly. You bring, like, whenever I'm like, ooh, squirrel, you're like, hey, get back, let the squirrel go. It's fine.
Yeah. My part-time job is corraller of the squirrel chaser. No,
oh man, so many squirrels.
Absolutely. All right. Well, any closing thoughts that you have? Anything that you want to share that people need to hear? Just some Mama Glyn Ann wisdom for the world.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know that I actually have any wisdom for the world, but just, if you could take some of the things that we've said as like condemnation or criticalness, if that's even a word, and don't hear it that way. There may be a nugget that you go, I don't know that I agree with that. Well, there is a nugget that you probably heard that you could take and use. you're not going to necessarily, if we were all identical and agreed with every single thing
Be a
that every
boring
single
place.
yeah,
Good
it
Lord.
wouldn't, and also we wouldn't be challenged.
Right.
We wouldn't be challenged to think on our own.
Right.
And so that would be the biggest thing that I would say is just, if you get a nugget, fantastic. If you maybe hear something that you go, well, look at what your is actually based in. Is it something that is maybe within you that you're being resistant to? Right. A thought that maybe, or a belief that may be off. And I think that's appropriate for everything, because you're going to read a book that you're like 95% of it was amazing. And there was this 5% that was like, I don't know. And so, but you can take that 95. And then there are some books that you go 95 was out there, but you can take that 5% and grow from it. So
absolutely. One of my favorite, what I thought of as you were talking is, at the ends of a lot of classes, especially our jiu-jitsu classes, but in our traditional classes as well, we have everybody share a nugget. And sometimes people are like, what do you mean a nugget?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, well, a lot of times life serves as a big pile of doo-doo. And most people run from it.
Yeah.
I really believe that. They run from hard work at times. They run from the problem. They run but what I encourage people to do is put your gloves on, put on a helmet, dive in, dig around, and you will find a golden nugget amongst a pile of poo, right?
Well, and I think another flip side of that is you can go through an hour-long class and just go through the motions, and you can't recall anything that you actually just did. And so that's another thing that nugget helps you to do is actually reflect and really think about, okay, what did I learn from this? And then your recall and your memory is so much better.
All right, guys. So she just said a great word, reflect. Just encourage you to reflect on your values, reflect on your relationships. I've it's kind of arrogant, but told my family we're going to build an empire. It's not going to be our empire. It's going to be God's. And he's
How
going to do
many
it through
times
us.
have people laughed at that?
Yeah, and we've been laughed out of the building. A whole lot of great stories about that stuff. But do some reflecting, guys. Just encourage you to think. Wisdom is not just knowledge and knowing things, but it's reflecting and making corrections and adjustments based on what you learn. And also encourage you to continue to learn. Never stop learning. All right, guys. Love you guys. Hope everybody enjoyed the show today. I cannot tell Miss Glyn Ann enough how much I appreciate her being here and how much it completes my life. She just blew me a kiss, and it almost knocked me off my stool. I love it. I'm going to have a date with her later today. I guarantee it. So you guys have a great day. Like it, love it, subscribe, share it with your friends, write into us, message, comment, all those things, and let us know what you want to hear about, what you want us to bring onto the show. And we're here for you. Thanks so much. See you next time. Thank you for tuning into the Team Chip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget, subscribe, share, and or leave a review because we need you. We appreciate you so much, and without you, we can't make this happen. Remember, consistency is the key to success, so go out there and never be outworked.